Hi students, so this lecture for BCA second sem on the statistical method. In the last class we discussed on the graphs as well as the diagrammatics. Okay, so in the last class we saw the meanings of the diagrams as well as the graphs. So diagrams, it means what? It is the visual form for the presenting statistical data for highlighting the basic factors and relationship which are inherent. Okay, so this is the meaning of the what's the diagram. Okay, and there are so many of these, so many importance also we saw the diagrams. And it means diagram, it provides the approximate informations, as well as just by looking at the diagrams data can be understood, and the interpret as well as the data represented by the diagrams are impressive and the appealing. Okay, so it is the limited and the approximate information is presented by the way of the diagrams. Okay, so next, graph. The quantitative data is usually represented by graphs, though it is not quite attractive and understandable by a layman. The classifications and tabulation techniques will reduce the data using graphs. Okay, so in the graph, whatever the quantitative data, it means what the numerical data is there, that with the help of that numerical data we can draw the graphs. Okay, and so these are the significance we saw in the last lecture. Now see what is the difference between the diagram and the graphs. So now see, these are the differences. First one is the words. Diagrams gives an appropriate idea. Okay, with the help of the diagrams of the statistical data we will get an idea. Okay, so just only we will get the ideas, but with the help of the graph, no. So graphs are more accurate. Okay, so it's showing the accurate picture with the statistical data. It means what? The graph will show the clear picture of the statistical data. It means numerical, whatever the figures are there, it will show with the help of the graphs. Okay, so it is the more accurate. So next, the diagram. So these diagrams are always drawn on the plain paper. Okay, there is no need to any graph paper. Okay, so diagrams is always drawn in a plain paper, but this graph, no, it's the graph paper is required. Okay, for a graph paper is required for the, it means there were the scales there in the graph paper. With the help of that scales we can draw the graph with the help of the statistical data, on it means, or the numerical data. So this is the on graph paper. Next one is the what's diagram by pencil or different colored inks. It means what? Diagram can be drawn by pencil or drawn by colorful inks in the plain paper, but the graphs, no. But graphs, no, only the by using the pencil, using the pencil they can draw the graphs on the graph paper. Okay, next, diagram, it's easy to understand and interpret. Okay, so diagram, it's very easy to understand as well as we can interpret easily, because it's showing the some pictures, or it's giving the some ideas to interpret. But it's a graph, no, it's very difficult, or it's more difficult to understand as well as the interpret the data, because only the numerical values is there. So that's, we cannot predict, or we cannot interpret it clearly. So this is the graph. Next, the diagram is more suited for publicity and propaganda. Okay, so this is, it means what? Diagrams are more suited. Okay, so it is very suitable. And this graph, it's also, it is the more suitable for the statistical analysis only purpose. Okay, so with the help of the using the statistical tools and techniques, so it is more suitable. Next, last one, diagram to present frequency distributions, diagram cannot be used. Okay, so this is one of the techniques is there, which is the distributions. Okay, frequency distributions, we cannot use these diagrams in this statistical units, but the graph we can use the statistical for the distributions. Okay, that to represent time series and frequency distributions, graphs are more suited. Okay, so these are the difference between the graphs and the diagrams. Okay, just it will come for the 5 marks, and it's very easy to understand. Just try to understand. Okay, next, in the next slide, just see these are the types of the diagrams. Okay, so first one is a one dimensional diagram, second one is a two dimensional diagram, and third one is a three dimensional diagram, fourth one is a pictograms and cartograms, and last one is a histograms. Okay, so now see, first one is a what's the one dimensional diagram. So it includes simple bar diagrams as well as the compound bar diagrams as well as the multiple bar diagram, and the last is the percentage bar diagram, and last one is what's the deviation bar diagram. So these are the 5 diagrams are there under the one dimensional diagram. So you have in this syllabus your one dimensional diagram as well as two dimensional bar diagram. Okay, in this one dimensional bar diagram, so this simple bar diagram as well as the multiple bar diagram and the percentage bar diagram, these are the very important diagrams are there. Okay, so we will see that one by one. Okay, next, in the next class, next two dimensional diagram. In this two dimensional diagram, these are the, it includes the rectangle diagram, square diagram, circles diagram as well as the pie diagram. And in the three dimensional diagram, it includes the cubes, cuboids, spheres and the cylinders. These are the diagrams are there under the three dimensional diagrams. Okay, so now see in the next slide the one dimensional diagram. So this one dimensional diagrams, no, actually it's mostly bar diagrams. Okay, it's the bar diagram. In such diagrams, a length of the bar, it's only the matters. Okay, what's the only the length of the diagrams which only the matters, but whatever the width has nothing to do with the data, but it is shown only for the attract purpose. Okay, so this is the one dimensional diagram. It's the length, it's the matter in the one dimensional diagram. So it includes the simple bar diagram. Okay, so now see what is a simple bar diagram. Simple bar diagram means it is popularly used in practices, and the height of the bar is taken in proportion to the magnitude of the item in the data. The proper width of the bar is taken merely for attraction, but it is nothing to do with the data. Okay, so it means what? So this simple bar diagram, no, it is used in the practice only. Okay, and it just keep in mind. So this bar diagrams, no, it represents only one characteristics. Okay, so this what, this simple bar diagram, it represents only the one characteristics that or one classification of data. Okay, so for example, the figures of the imports as well as the figures of the exports population. Okay, so these are the examples for the few years. Okay, so for the few years may be represented by this simple bar diagram actually. And so this is very important for the, it's very easy to understand the diagram, and just only keep in mind, so only the length is matter in this bar diagram. There is nothing width of this, it's matter the width of the bar diagram. Okay, so just see here, it represents the following data by the bar diagram. This is the example. Just see here, year is given, year wise data is given in a tons. Okay, for this 1991 it's a 45 tons, it's 1992 it's a 40 tons, in 1993 it's a 42 tons, in 1994 it's a 55 tons, and in 1995 it's a 50 tons. Okay, so these are the production data in tons, and it is now presented in the simple bar diagram. Okay, so now see this zero, this on this O axis. Okay, so this O to X axis is, these are the years are there, and this O to Y axis, these are the productions. Okay, in tons is given. Okay, so always keep in mind this years is given in the O axis and this whatever the data is there in the Y axis, so you have to put in the Y axis. Okay, so now see this in this 1991, this is the, it's showing how many tons, 45 tons. Okay, according to this, according to the bar simple bar diagrams, it's shown the data. Okay, statistical data. Okay, so just try to understand like this. You have to you have to understand the simple bar diagram. Okay, so in the next class we will see the remaining part of the one dimensional diagram. Okay, clearly we will see in the next class. Thank you.